How's it going, Andrew?
What's going on, Matt?
Not much. Same old, same old, same old. We had a good day working at Lodge today.
Yep. I'm covered in a thin layer of ceiling tile. It's in my eyes. It's in my armpits. It's in places I wasn't expecting to find it, but it is everywhere. And
Right.
yeah, I mean, that was a long day, but we did get a lot of stuff done, which was fun. And it was good. It still was good fellowship with the brothers just working together, too.
Oh, yeah. Agreed. And just to remind you, you're not just covered in ceiling tile dust. You're covered in whatever was on top of those ceiling tiles for the last 20 years.
See, when the first one that I pulled down dumped on my face, my immediate thought was, this is all mouse poop, was my first thought. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to pretend it's not. Just move on with my life. But I would say the sheer amount, the quantity that was on top of the ceiling tile was disturbing. I would say that it was more than I was expecting.
Sure, it was not mouse poop. Jeez.
It definitely felt, I just didn't like it. But
Well, yeah, it was gritty and gross and dusty and everything else. Yeah, that's what happens.
yeah, but we got a lot of work done. We got done with the work, came home. You went to mow. I went to grill out, and I made grilled cheese on my grill, which I've never attempted, and it was amazing. Then we had made the bad mistake of forgetting that we were supposed to be joining some lovely brothers from the Studio 357 podcast. We panic showered, panic ran, and then we joined them on a podcast, and now we've trapped them here.
You showered?
Heck yeah, I did. I didn't want to smell for these brothers over the camera, dude.
You are a better man than I.
Well, not all of us can be as gross as you. But since we gave a bit of a hint, I'm going to hit the music and then we'll join our brothers.
Loosen up your ties and roll up your sleeves. It's time for fellowship with Matt and Andrew. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the Grand Lodge of Wisconsin or any other Grand Lodge or any appended body.
So we are on with an absolutely fabulous Masonic podcast, Studio 357, down into the left would be the best way to describe it, over in Nebraska. They're going to be joining us today as we just had joined them on theirs as well, and so we figured we'd do a double dip. Brothers, can you please introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'm Chuck, newest member, Bee Hive Lodge, entered apprentice Mason, here learning to be a better person and better man and enjoying the brotherhood.
I am Worshipful Brother Joe. This show was kind of my idea, or I don't know if it was a good idea or a bad idea, but been a Mason almost 10 years.
I'm Heath. I'm the senior warden at Bee Hive. Been a Mason for 5 years. Has it been 5? How old are you? 23. 5 years. 5 years.
Hey.
5 years. And yeah.
My name is Gabriel Omar Torosogo Rodriguez Sepulveda Gonzalez Barbosa. They call me Gabe. FC from Bee Hive Lodge number 184. I've only been in Freemasonry for about, I'd say, a year and a half maybe. And
yeah. Getting ready for your master degree.
Getting ready for a master degree here September 13th. I'm excited.
Awesome.
That is his real full name, by the way.
That is my actual name, by the way.
But they call me Gabe. Awesome. Well, this might be the largest number of guests we've had on a podcast, being one Andrew, one Matt, one Chuck, one Joe, one Heath, and one Gabe. That is a large number. So I'm going to have to modify my question structure. So similar to what you guys did, where I'm just going to pick a person and I'm going to ask a question. We're going to go down this rabbit hole. So
glad we can help you set records.
Nice.
So, Gabe, as a Mason who you'd be considered very new in your Masonic career, within it for like a year, what drew you to the doors of Freemasonry?
Brotherhood. Immediately. Brotherhood, fellowship. For me, at least, it was, I couldn't find a group of people that had my kind of same mentality or same way of being. I'm military, so also trying to find people that have the same kind of comedic sense of humor or just personality period is kind of rough. Like, I'm a mechanic, don't get me wrong, so you do have these people with leather skin, but they're a different breed, just period dot. And I met Joe at my old workplace. I've never known anything about Freemasonry, same as my favorite conspiracy. They're all devil worshippers, never knew a damn thing about them. But the thing that drew me in was just the fellowship and the kindness that he was presenting to me, and everyone else that he ever showed to me just brought me in with open arms, as if they've already known me for years. And I never found any other group or any group of people that treated me how these people have. And brotherhood, fellowship, every step of the way. That's what brought me in.
Yeah, you're all right.
Thanks, bro. Same.
That's actually an amazing answer, and that's really great to hear. Actually, that you felt that welcomed and brought into the fraternity and everything else. You know, I wish we could say that everybody gets to have that experience, but you see a lot of guys that drop off after their EA or never come back to visit again, even in the petitioning process or prior to the petitioning process, because they don't get included like that, and they don't get that sense of brotherhood that exists. So that was really great to hear.
Yeah, I'm kind of blessed in a certain way, but I really wish that the way that they brought me in is the way that I try to treat everyone else that's trying to come in. I try to be super communicative. I try to just involve them. You know, I'm kind of a outgoing kind of person. If I understand they're kind of shy or they're kind of quiet, I kind of try to help them out and adapt and try to still bring them in kind of easily to the group. But I still try and keep in contact with people because, man, this stuff is great. Like, this brotherhood is amazing. And I don't wish that shyness or, I don't know, not being as outgoing is going to stop you. Like, people should be there to try to help you, especially if you already took the step to try to petition or to hang out with us. Let's try to make it memorable, or let's try to, keep going another step.
Well, and when you think about it, like I always tell like new EAs, they go, so like, what should I do? And I go, your main job for right now, besides learning your stuff and learning about the degree you just went through, is just to get to know the brothers in your lodge. I go, every meal or extracurricular, or you're at the pubs, talk with someone you've never talked to before. Sit with a different group of people. And I go, because it becomes infinitely more fun when you know everyone, compared to the classic, what I say is, there's a problem when a brother or a potential candidate is staring at the past master pictures. They're just off by themselves, looking around at the lodge's ornaments, staring at stuff, and you go, nope, that guy's not feeling included. And, like you said, some people are shy, and everyone is like a gregarious person, but that's why a brother is there to be like, you know what, I am a gregarious person. You can be my shadow. Come with me. I'll get you through this. I'll get you to meet people.
Exactly.
So you guys are all from Bee Hive Lodge, correct? Right?
Yeah,
That's correct.
That's why. Okay. So the Bee Hive is one of my favorite symbols in Masonry. Being that you're named after like the Bee Hive, do you guys put a lot of stock in that industrious attitude and really embracing that symbol?
It's funny, and I don't know if we just got lucky with the name draw. Our lodge was formed by the Grand Lodge in 1886, I believe.
Something like that.
And we are, at one time, our lodge had to meet on 3 different nights because we had so many blue-collar workers. We had one night was the Omaha Stockyard workers, one night was the railroad workers, and one night was the regular blue-collar guys. But we've always been that industrious blue-collar, get your hands dirty type of lodge. But our lodge is inside the Scottish Rite. So there's 3 lodges that meet inside of our lodge room. So we share it. But we do a fair amount of work outside of the lodge. We don't own the building, so there's not a lot of work that goes on in it. But we do a lot of, like, we're visible.
Yeah, we try to be very visible.
Yeah.
Count your blessings in that one. Owning a building is great at times and more work than you want at others.
Yeah, there's 2 types of lodges. There's lodges that have money, and there's lodges that own buildings. And I'm in a lodge who owns our building, and we just put in $100,000 parking lot this year. So there's lodges that have money, and there's lodges that own their buildings. and there's pros and cons for sure, bud. So we were just talking previously about what got Gabe into Masonry. To do a light pivot, Worshipful Brother Joe, what kept you in Freemasonry?
So I came in, and Heath is my son, by the way, but he was going through and getting his Eagle Scout. So I spent, 3 or 4 years away from lodge, but the friend group was always still my brothers. So once he got less busy with masonry or with scouts, he joined masonry, and we both jumped in and with both feet, And right now I'm the sitting master and he's my senior warden, which is, I feel very blessed to have that.
Yeah.
And if all goes well, maybe next year he'll be the master and I can get to be his chaplain. But yeah, the short answer is the friend circle. All of my friends are Masons.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I hang out with on Saturday nights.
Mm-hmm.
That's what gets it done for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty crazy that you guys get to have a father-son duo going back to back. We had a similar situation, but it was with two brothers, two Walden boys.
Oh.
So they were siblings, and they went back to back, and I thought that was strange, but I think it's probably
That's cool.
a cooler vibe to be a father and son. I'm also, if elected, going into the East next year, so Heath and I will be sweating at the same time, a couple of states apart.
How's your year been going, Joe? Have you been enjoying being master? Is it daunting?
It's really, I see it. I planned a big veterans dinner. That was my one thing that I wanted to do this year. But I truly see my time in the East as just doing the lodge's bidding. Really, I had my plan set. It's pretty easy, to be honest. Everything was set in motion before I even sat in the chair. So I'm there to, I don't like to call it my year in the East, but I mean, it's my year that I was chosen to sit there, but it's my year that I get to carry out the wishes of the brethren. So that I take a lot of pride in that. Probably bring up more things to vote on than we should. I should just make decisions, but I want to make sure I get everybody's opinion on it. So, but other than that, I mean, it's going smooth. We haven't had any fist fights or anything.
Not yet. No. After this podcast.
Yeah, Gabe and I, we're going.
Well, good, because I was about to ask if we had to have a lodge fight breakdown, which working tool would be the most effective in the fight, the trowel or the gavel, but it sounds like you guys might not need either of those. So
actually, when I was installed, my son got me a Thor hammer gavel.
Yes.
And it is glorious.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, it's big and loud.
It's all walnut.
It's very loud.
They got me a nice sounding board for it, and it cracks.
Is the handle's wrapped up with paracord as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a military. Oh yes, very similar.
Something like this one? Yeah.
Yep.
Like my blurred background's true enough.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
That's awesome.
So Heath, you said you've been a Mason for 5 years, you're a senior warden in your lodge. What are you looking forward to next year? What are your plans? What are you feeling? What do you think skills you need to bring to the East as you are on the precipice of the Oriental chair?
Wow.
Well, skills I need to bring. One, I mean, leadership, obviously. I mean, and communication. Communication is huge in a lodge. You need to be able to communicate to your lodge and tell you, like, have your people know what's going on, and have your people tell you what's going on, and back and forth, and kind of just keep everybody active and just keep the lodge alive.
Keep the lodge alive. Big goals.
It's wonderful. Right. It's wonderful when you're being handed a ship that's already sailing in the right direction, right? It makes the job seem easier and less daunting, because all you got to do is keep it moving that way. You don't have to change course, right? You just got to keep her going. So,
I mean, that I feel in a similar boat to you, Heath, going next year, where I think there's been many generations of worshipful masters before me who had to do a lot harder work to put the lodge in a position that when we're sitting in those positions, we are senior wardens, that you're just like, well, let's just keep the ball rolling, guys. Like, we got a good thing going. Let's just keep her moving. And I don't think every lodge gets that.
Our lodge in particular has struggled in recent years, as many have, with getting attendance. Attendance has been down, but we've really tried hard as a group this year. We've started a fellowship night, so we meet the first Thursday. So the third Thursday we're meeting at the Scottish Rite for fellowship. That's been going pretty well, but we're seeing more butts in the chairs when it comes to lodge meetings. So that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. It means you're creating value, that you're having something to offer, something that people actually want, a reason to sit their butts in the seats.
Right.
Absolutely. All right,
creating
Chuck.
value is super important.
Big time. All right, Chuck, I think you thought we forgot about you over here, you little entered apprentice, you, but we did not. We did not. So, as an entered apprentice in your lodge, you've only been hanging out with these lads, I assume, for a short period of time, and you're getting to know Masonry. what would you say with your young, fresh entered apprentice eyes? What would you think makes a good Mason?
Oh, well, I think diversity and the fact that everybody comes from different backgrounds and has something different to offer really helps make a great Mason. I don't think there's such thing as a singular great Mason from my point of view. I think the lodge and the brotherhood is what makes Masonry what it really is, because a single man is only capable of doing what he can on his own. It's the brotherhood and having a helping hand, which I've personally experienced. I met these guys, when I was going through some personal stuff. Health wasn't that great, and they were there to help lift me up emotionally, spiritually, and physically when I needed it. And none of that could have been done by myself or by any one brother. The entire lodge stepped up to help me, believe in myself again, if you will. So
before you were a Mason.
Yeah, before I was even a Mason.
He was even a Mason.
Yeah. I'm like Gabe had mentioned earlier, he's prior military. All of us are, actually. Yep. I'm prior Navy, military law enforcement over a decade. And, it's kind of what drew me to it was the brotherhood and the camaraderie and having people that were like-minded. And since we're such a diverse group, there's no two Masons with the same opinion in our lodge. And I love that because, I could take somebody's input that I may not have even thought of, and it could help me better myself. And, something I may say, even though I'm an entered apprentice, my opinion is valued and mattered. And, I think that's what makes not necessarily a great Mason, but a great brotherhood.
Excellent. Wow. That was a phenomenal answer.
A phenomenal answer from an entered apprentice. Came in ready to rock.
He was nervous to knock, and then he just dropped this bomb. That was good.
He's like, I really don't want to talk, but I do have something to say. And you're like,
right. I ain't ready for this.
No, and like you can even dial that back like half a step too, to just like the operative side of things. Like you bring guys together with such varying skill sets, like we saw today, Andrew, at our lodge work day. We had a guy there who knows installing AV equipment. We had other people that could do electrical. We had
and then you had me.
You can bring all those you can bring all those skill sets together and accomplish something that you wouldn't have been able to do on your own too. So
that goes back to what I was talking about with the military, with all the different groups out there. Everybody works together as one cohesive unit. Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, and even using our trustees night today, I don't know anything about wires. I don't know about climbing ladders so good. Changing out ceiling tiles, but I had to do all of that with the babysitting of brothers who knew what they were doing. But now I learned some skills along the way because, I'm not unhandy, but I definitely break stuff. And so and have.
The hammer, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, there's an infamous ceiling tile. So there's a ceiling tile in our lodge that I was tasked with changing out. And I was trying to make it unbend because it was warped, and I snapped it in half. And so then to hide it, we have a bunch of these books in our lodge. So there's this book series called Forward Freemasonry, which was about the history of Wisconsin Freemasonry. But we have hundreds is not, maybe an exaggeration. We have 14 copies of these books. And I went, you know what? If I put it up there and I put some books up there, I bet I can have the weight hold it down. So there's still books hidden up in the ceiling from my trustee skills.
So what you're saying is that tile's no longer bent.
Straightened out.
No, that tile is cracked and is now completely replaced.
The books are still up there. You left them up there as Easter eggs. This is going to fall on a past master someday.
That's right.
It's a little present for whoever changes out the ceiling tiles.
That's right.
So, question for all of y'all. Anyone can pick to answer. If someone, let's say a brother from 200 years ago, you said your lodge was founded what year?
1886.
So if a brother from 1886 walked into your lodge today, what do you think would feel most familiar to them? And what do you think would feel most alien to them?
The most familiar thing would be our secretary.
He's
Oh,
very,
yeah.
Sorry, Dave. Yeah, sorry, not sorry. You're old.
I would say probably the most familiar thing would be probably our rods. We found our rods, our staffs. They were hidden away in storage and thought lost for several decades, and we found them. So there we are now back to using those, and they are the original ones from way back when. And actually, these pillars, obviously your listeners can't see them, but these pillars are from our original lodge as well. So they're very, very old.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what's the most foreign thing? What do you think?
I mean, somebody would be a part of our lodge that long ago would be the building for sure. 'Cause we moved to the Scottish Rite 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That'd definitely be one of them. I mean,
I'd say maybe the jokes we crack during
yeah,
business meetings and how we.
Or probably, maybe even the ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
I'd say.
Because the
been
ritual, I'm sure,
modernized.
has changed over the last couple hundred years.
I mean,
Yeah.
dress code.
Yeah.
Dress code. That's another thing I would probably.
No coat and ties and
That's not tux.
Yeah, so in our lodge, the only time we wear a suit and tie is for degree work and like for inspections. So for a normal business meeting, we're just in jeans and t-shirts or a polo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, our lodge rides in the middle a little bit where for 75% of the year, we're suit and tie. Not that we would throw anyone out over it. People occasionally will come in, and we're not going to give them that hard of a time. We'd rather have them be at lodge than be dressed correctly for lodge, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just encourage to dress nicely. And then in the summer months, we have AC, so we don't actually have a good excuse, but it's nice to have a couple of casual months. So we do a opening day theme night where we're wearing baseball gear. We have a Hawaiian shirt night, and then we have two others that were just business casual. And
Polos
then
and khakis.
Yep. And then for degrees, we're always tuxedos. For the officers, at least. Not the whole lodge is wearing tuxedos, but the officers wear tuxedos. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that, I feel like, for me, I think I would feel that they would feel right away that the fellowship was the same, is what I feel like. They come in and be like, they'd be like, what are these iPhones? Oh, at least there's a brother here to explain this crazy future to me.
yeah.
So I got a question for Gabe.
Oh no.
Welcome back. We're going around the circle. Gabe, how would you say that Freemasonry has influenced your daily life outside of lodge? Like at work, family, in the community?
Oh man, I would have to say that it just feels great that I have another family to lean on to, or to know that I have a group of people that have my back anytime and any hour of the day. I could text any of my brothers and I could call them, text them anytime. And they'll be like, what's going on? What's up? Like, you need help? Dude, you want to hang out? Like, you want to talk about it? It's like, or they would even text me like, hey, can you help me out with this? And I'm like, absolutely. Like, to know that I have people that I can depend on, and for them to know that they can depend on me, it's just such a wonderful feeling. I haven't felt this since the military, and it's just amazing.
You should be a guest host on a podcast sometime.
I try. No one takes me. No one wants me.
Yeah.
So Heath, are you a willing participant in being on the podcast, or did your dad drag you along?
Yes. Most of the time, he prefers to be behind the camera.
Correct. Yeah.
I don't mind being in front of the camera every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that we got Heath in the hot seat, I got a question for him now.
Ooh.
Cool.
Heath, what would you say is the best example of brotherly support that you've witnessed in action in your 5-ish years as a Freemason?
That's a thinker.
This guy?
Yeah, probably us just being there for Chuck and kind of bringing him up through a hard time and inevitably bringing him in through Masonry.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say that was a doozy, yeah. So a little bit of backstory.
I'm glad you're going there, because it doesn't make a lot of sense to say it without explaining
Like,
it.
oh man,
Yeah.
when we helped this guy. Oh,
Yeah.
cool answer.
So I worked with Gabe in Department of Corrections here in the state of Nebraska. That's how we met. I was Navy, he was Coast Guard, puddle jumping pirate, real pirate. So we kind of hated each other, but over the years we got along really well. And, I was going through a loss of family members at the time. And then over the last decade, it's been 2, 3, 4 family members every single year. Like by the time I start getting back to being myself again, it's another loss.
Mm-hmm.
And this last year was pretty rough. It was a 1-year anniversary of my grandfather passing, and me being prior combat service member, the only way I knew how to process my emotions was through alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up with kidney and liver failure and lost my job to that. And, shortly after I lost my grandmother and then my foster aunt, and I just didn't know how to process. And one day I just picked up the phone, called Gabe, and he was like, "Hey, tell you what, we're out at a barbecue." I'm like, "Who's we?" He's like, "Just come on." And that's when I met the rest of the gentlemen here. And, from then it was, like, hey, good people, good vibes kind of thing.
Let's hang out again.
Yeah, it took my mind off of it. And then just one day I got a phone call, "Hey, we're out camping. Come on out." And I was like, well, I've got some free time. Get out there. There was an issue with the electrical wiring. We got that sorted. And I don't believe in coincidence. I never have. Always believed in, being put in a certain position at the time when you need to be put there. Like all the hardships and everything I've had to go through, I think there was a reason I needed to go through that so I could meet these wonderful gentlemen, my brothers, and it was rough. I mean, I've been sober for, March of last year, March 19th.
Congratulations.
And, that night at that campfire is when I decided that I wanted to inquire about Masonry. I mean, I knew they were all Masons from the first time I met them, because I asked how they all knew each other.
Yep.
But they never forced any, questions or anything on me. And it was just like that night we did a few flag retirement ceremonies and
Oh yeah.
oh man, all of us were there blubbering, hugging each other, missing our lost ones, our loved ones. But it was an emotional, a spiritual, and deep in your soul kind of feeling that, just made me want to be a part of this. And, over the last year or so, I think it was at the beginning of this year that I became a Mason. And, I've still been going through the VA and everything. And these guys were checking up on me weekly. If I wasn't contacting them, they were contacting me, and it's a support network that I had no idea existed. Outside of these guys, I have one gentleman that I was deployed with. I'm going to give him some love. Adam Vizcarando. He's out in the Ozarks. One of my oldest friends. We were deployed together, and it's a family, and it's a sense of belonging that I didn't know existed outside of my own blood, which is really nice because blood-wise, I have 9 members left in my family, and the rest of my family are these guys. So
Gonna make me cry.
Yeah, I was about to cry.
I'm trying not to cry right now.
I've been here for every step of the way, and he just reeled it all off, and I was about to start crying again. I've been here for all of it in person, and I was going to cry.
yeah, this
That
is
is-
Chuck, I can't wait for you to become a master mason, my man. You're gonna love this shit. And thank you for sharing that story. And I mean, I think you bring up a really good point that Matt and I said a lot, that Masonry finds you at the right time, at the right place when it needs to. And your story is the exact proof in the pudding of that. Like when the stars just aligned at the right time for when you needed the support the most, and then brothers appeared from the haze of a campfire to take you by the hand. Yeah.
They would not let me give up on myself. I was ready to just call it a day, and
Not on our watch.
they gave me hope when I thought everything was gone. So it's just I don't know how else to explain it.
It's love.
It's that
Yeah,
brotherhood,
I
it's that
mean-
fellowship.
It's brotherly
And-
love. Yeah.
Well, and I'm a Boys Town graduate. I was a little punk growing up. Boys Town
Still are.
Still are.
Yeah, I'm still Grandpa used to call me a hemorrhoid. So, but yeah, it's 2 major turning points in my life where all it took was people who didn't know me to reach out and care and make me feel accepted and proud of who I was for who I am. And all I want to do is just share that love and pay it forward, if you will.
Well, and you've joined a fraternity that you have ample opportunities to not only receive that brotherly love, but also to give it back as a mentor and as a friend and as a brother. It's a beautiful, like, cyclical nature within the fraternity that not only there's going to be times when you need the love, and there's going to be times that you have to be the one giving the love too. And it's just something very special about our fraternity that there's always someone who's going to be willing to do both.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very well put.
Yups all around.
I don't know how we follow the story.
I know. I appreciate you sharing it though, Chuck. It was a good story.
Wow.
I'm still trying not to cry, but it is a good story.
That is.
When
That
we
is
have, we
amazing.
have prospective candidates come and visit us for dinner, like before lodge. You're like, hey, Chuck, why don't you go sit down with that guy?
Mm-hmm.
And we just let him go.
Mm-hmm. Like, you're fresh. Like, tell him what's up.
I accidentally did a good thing. No, I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just talking to the gentleman. He just wanted to know the reasons why, he should even consider it. He's also another sailor, and that made it easy to talk to him about the brotherhood, the camaraderie.
All it
And
takes.
Mm-hmm.
it was I didn't feel like I was making a pitch or anything. I felt like I was just talking to him, man to man kind of thing, and
That's what it is. It's all about.
yeah, I didn't even realize I was doing it.
Well, when you've had an experience like that, and when you've had similar experiences to that in the fraternity, the pitch is very easy because all you have to do is tell your story, right? It's not a pitch. It's what actually happened, and it proves the value of the fraternity in and of itself.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
It's not a pitch, it's
yeah.
your experience.
Yeah, because there was no pitch at all. It was just like, this is what's real.
This is why it's great. It's none of that. It's like, this is my experience, and this is why I think it's great.
So if you had to make a pitch,
If I had to make a pitch, I don't know.
so I oftentimes find myself being the one who I'm a chatter, I'm a talker, so I'll always talk to these new guys coming in. And I've never, like you guys, I've never had a pitch. I just go, here's the deal. I go, you're going to have a group of people, and you better make sure you like them before you join. So you should visit a couple of lodges, because if you don't like these people, this is going to suck. And I go, so you better make sure you actually like hanging out with these guys before you decide to pay dues for this, right?
Yep.
And I was like, but, if you like to have a group of guys who you can meet, and as we age, it's harder to always find time to hang out with your friends. But the nice thing about lodge is they go, second Thursday, first Thursday, I'm going to see my boys. At least you have one touch point that's always going to be there. If you like history and philosophy, boy, can you go down some rabbit holes. We can send you down them. If you like to, do things and get back to your community, we can do that too. And I said, it's just fun. And if you're into it, you'll be into it. And if you're not, there's no shame in that. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's best just to be like, you're not trying to sell them on anything.
No,
You're just trying to say, this is why I like it. This is why I like it. I like it, and I hope that you'd like it. But if you don't like it, it's not everyone's cup of tea, so that's fine.
I mean, like you were saying, sometimes it's for someone, sometimes it's not. Just like I talked to my nephew, he was asking me about the military. His dad was Army, I was Navy, Grandpa was Army, Korean War vet, and our dad was in the Navy. I mean, he was asking about it. I'm like, if it's not for you, it's not for you. But if you decide you want to do it, or you decide you don't, I'm still going to be proud of you regardless. So, because, talking to somebody, even asking questions about Masonry, I mean, you were talking about while in college, you put that book on your Amazon list, and, it was years later that it just popped up. So, even speaking with somebody, whether or not they decide they want to join, the fraternity of brotherhood at that moment or years down the road, it just pops back into their mind. And it's like, maybe this is my time. Maybe this is something I need to look at. Maybe at this point in my life, it's not what I needed, but now this is where I need to be.
Yeah, and it's that same thing. It finds you, and if it doesn't find you, at least somebody should come in the door if they're interested and actually understand what Freemasonry is before they walk out, right? So if they come in and they walk out, they go, hey, it's not for me, but I do understand what it is now. You know what I mean? So they don't walk away and go, oh yeah, they're skinning goats in there or something. You know what I mean? Like they walk out and go, okay, it's not as mysterious. It's interesting, and there is some mystery to it, but it's not as, it dispels the myths and just goes, this is what we are. This is what we like to do. I can't tell you all the secrets of Masonry are almost the most trivial part about it, where you go, I can tell you about almost everything about Masonry. I just can't tell you a couple of things and how we do our ritual because that's just our philosophy. You can find that online if you're really industrious, but I'm not going to tell you, right? And so it's really like, at the end of the day, either you have someone who's searching for something and you're going to give them more information. If it's not what they were searching for, at least they now know what it is. And if not, like you said, Chuck, that it might be that years down the road, you explained it well enough that they go, I was kind of chaotic at this time, but now I feel like I would like something like this. And then masonry's sitting there waiting for him, as we have been for the last 400-ish, 400, 500-ish years. So,
yeah. I think my favorite, very unserious pitch whenever someone asks about Freemasonry, I'll go, you ever heard the term just a group of dudes being dudes? Yeah, that's us. That's pretty much what we do. Very unserious, short and to the point. And if I want to get into a little more detail, I'll obviously get a little more serious about it. No, I won't say it's just a group of dudes being dudes, but someone asks, so what do you guys do? And it's like, well, it's just a group of dudes being dudes.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. Yeah, so we actually do X, Y, Z, LMNOP, and then I go down that rabbit hole if they're interested. But the quickest, easiest way, you ever heard a group of dudes being dudes? That's us.
Yeah, I'm going to date myself here. Back early 90s, growing up.
Now
on
the late
playgrounds. 1900s. I'll stab you. You meet a kid on the playground, you guys, you're vibing, things are just going right, perfect, and you guys are inseparable kind of thing. That's how it is. That's exactly what it is. You get to relive, the innocence of childhood, but also at the same time have people, around your age or significantly younger, Heath. I joke about his age, but at the same time, his age and his generation could bring a lot to the table that I would have never even thought of.
I would have never thought of saying just dudes being dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go up and say, well, it is actually a peculiar system of morality, veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols. Like, what'd you say about my mama? And you're like, oh, sorry. Awesome. Well, guys, I think
shift gears.
Yep, go for it, Matt.
I want to shift gears for 1 second here. I don't think we've talked about Studio 357 Masonic Podcast here much. So, Joe, how long have you guys been doing the podcast? How often does it release? What's its origin story? Tell us something about it.
Oh, we released our first episode January 1st of 24.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So about a year and a half, coming up on 2 years. Mm-hmm. We release every 2 weeks. Typically, we record on a Friday. We release on a Monday or late Sunday night. We have guests booked out through the end of January already. Wow. So we're, I don't know, that's a long ways.
That's a long ways.
5 months. 5 months out, I guess.
So you're more organized than we are.
No, I don't know. I like to guess. I don't know. I wouldn't say we're more organized. Yeah, I mean, basically the gist of our show is kind of what we discussed before. It's every Mason has a unique story. Mm-hmm. Whether they think it's unique or not, it really is. Mm-hmm. So we want to be a platform to help share that with everybody. And if we get somebody that listens to the show and they're not a Mason and they say, well, you know what, that guy seems like a normal guy, maybe I can give this a shot. Mm-hmm. Then we're successful. Yeah. Or if it helps a young entered apprentice Mason be more comfortable with going to his lodge and talking with the more experienced Masons, mm-hmm. It's all we're doing, with all these Masonic podcasts, we're all spreading the same light. So if we can help do that, then we're successful.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to toss the same question that you tossed at us on your show. How'd you come up with the name?
Because our friends at the Imperfect Ashlars already had that taken. Because we're always seeking, right? You're always trying to be perfect, but you're never going to get there, right? So that was actually the number one pick that Heath and I came up with.
Yeah, it was Rough Ashlars. And then there already is a podcast out of Alabama.
Brother Zach down there as the Imperfect Ashlars. And I thought, well, that's just too close. We can't. That'd be like copying. So,
Brother Zach Gasway, something like that. I just want to know if it's the same person. I know because I've met him at Tennessee Cave Degree a couple times. I didn't know he had a podcast.
I will pull him up here. Grice. GRICE.
Different person. All right, that's why.
Cool.
Yeah, they have a show too. They're very inconsistent at this point of when they release, but we were just a guest on their show as well.
Nice.
Right on. I hadn't heard about them. You know what I do love, real quick, before we wrap this up, about the Masonic podcasting community and what's been going on with, like, At Refreshment, Traveling Man, The Third Degree, ourselves, you guys, and a couple other ones, is we seem to be building this tight-knit community, like a brotherhood within a brotherhood of Masonic podcasters now. And we're all supporting each other. We don't view each other as competition. We want everyone to succeed, and it's great. It's wonderful, and I hope that continues to trend that way. We get more of this crossover and interactions between the podcasts, because I absolutely love doing these where we get to sit down with another podcast.
It's also the best because you guys know how to talk on microphones. You don't know, some guests can have a hard time, but you get a podcaster on and you go, we'll be all right.
It's amazing with us doing video. Once they realize that there's a camera there, then it's almost like they clam up sometimes. So you have to kind of coach them a little bit. Just forget there's a camera. It's no need to worry. But usually they'll settle in after a while, and then they get pretty comfortable.
Wait, I was on camera? That's why I didn't clam up.
You're right. There is no competition. What would I say? # Masonic Podcast Convention. You know?
Oh, that's such a good idea.
It is a good idea.
That'd be cool. Mm-hmm. I'd go to that.
It's so much fun.
This is one of the most exclusive Masonic dependent bodies. It's the podcast dependent body. Still takes a couple nights a week. Your dues are buying equipment.
The one thing I would say is, if we ever do a Masonic podcast convention, we have to set a time that the microphones get turned off, because there's going to be a certain point in fellowship where nobody should be recording anymore.
I'll stand in the hallway.
We'll have Chuck manage the mute button, and when Chuck sees that we've gone too far, he's just going to unplug it and go, and that's enough of you guys.
And you're done.
I could do that.
Silence.
Yes.
Well, awesome, guys. It was really a treat to have you guys on and to be able to join you guys on your podcast as well. It's a blast to all of our listeners. Studio 357. You can listen to me anywhere you can find your Masonic podcasts, or any podcast for that matter. They have a great show. They're a fun bunch of guys down in Nebraska, so please be sure to check them out. But yeah, thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Matt and Andrew. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks for coming on. This was amazing. I love being on your show. Loved having you guys on. This was a ton of fun.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do it again.
Cool. And to our listeners, be sure to check us out on our social medias, Facebook, TikTok, the other ones. You can also join us on Discord, where you can chat with us in real time. We also have a secret podcast-only Discord area for Masonic podcasters. Wink, wink, to Studio 357. But outside of that, thanks for tuning in, and everyone take care.
You as well.